It began at exactly midnight, not with a celestial event or a scientific breakthrough, but with a question from a dumpster. Marlo the raccoon, our first pioneer in a new era, spoke the word that would rewrite the destiny of the planet.
In living rooms across the globe, the shock was immediate. For eons, we assumed our pets were thinking about toys or treats. We were half right. Rufus, the golden retriever, didn't just want a snack. He wanted a detailed explanation as to why the kibble quality had recently declined. The wild was no longer a place of silent observation. Bramble the bear wasn't looking for a fight. He was looking for the time. He had a 2 p.m. berry harvest scheduled, and he didn't want to be late. The hikers, however, were too busy recalculating their entire understanding of biology to answer. Humanity collectively forgot how to breathe for approximately 10 seconds. The silence of the natural world hadn't just been broken, it had been shattered by 4 billion years of pent-up conversation. We weren't just alone in the universe anymore. We were surrounded by neighbors we'd never properly introduced ourselves to. The news cycle didn't just break, it evolved. By hour 4, every headline on Earth had been replaced by the 3 words that changed history. It wasn't a hoax, it wasn't a movie. They were talking, and they had a lot to say. We finally got the answers to the great mysteries. Rufus explained that he didn't hate the mailman. He just found the sound of polyester shorts to be an objective affront to canine heritage. It was a very logical, very detailed, and very long-winded grievance. Cats, predictably, were more cynical. Tibbles revealed that while he tolerated human presence for the body heat, the dry food situation had become a human rights violation, or at least a feline one. He described the premium kibble as expensive cardboard and demanded immediate menu revisions. The sky became a live stream of our deepest secrets. Birds, the ultimate observers, began narrating everything they saw from above. Nothing was private anymore, not even the guy in 4B eating an entire birthday cake over his sink at 3 a.m. In the deep, the whales spoke with a frequency that vibrated through the hull of every ship. They weren't singing songs of old, they were complaining about the water temperature and wondering aloud who had dropped a microwave into the Mariana Trench back in 1994. Even the smallest among us found their voice. Ant colonies, already the most efficient teams on Earth, finally had a way to coordinate their logistics. "Pivot! Pivot!" echoed from the sidewalk as 1 billion workers negotiated the transport of a single, orange-dusted Cheeto. Zoos transformed from places of observation into sites of heated negotiation. Leopold the lion wasn't interested in being a king. He was interested in mid-century modern furniture and a significantly lower volume of screaming children. The savanna aesthetic, he noted, was painfully tacky. Agriculture faced an immediate identity crisis. Beatrice the cow looked her farmer in the eye and asked the one question nobody was prepared to answer. "So, Arthur, what exactly is the long-term plan for the herd? Be honest." The silence that followed was the loudest thing the farm had ever heard. The scientific community was flipped upside down. Researchers weren't studying squirrels anymore, they were being lectured by them. Pips. The squirrel explained that the drag coefficient of an acorn was far more complex than human physics had allowed for, calling the lead scientist a rank amateur. By hour 18, the noise was deafening. Every news channel was a chaotic grid of cross-species interviews. Experts on geopolitics were being outdebated by hermit crabs, and the weather report was now being provided exclusively by a very reliable seagull named Dave. The hierarchy of the planet shifted in a single afternoon. In the cities, the conversation was constant. Animals were no longer just pets or pests. They were citizens with grievances, opinions, and in the case of the local dog population, very specific demands for more treats and fewer vacuum cleaners. Some took a more philosophical approach. Silas the owl held court in the park, offering a lecture on the nature of existence and the importance of embracing the swoop. Humans gathered not to observe, but to listen, realizing that wisdom doesn't always come with a university degree. Social media was completely overrun. The algorithms trained on human behavior were baffled by the sudden surge in content regarding trash can security and the best places to find sunbeams. At Golden Retriever, 99 became the world's most influential lifestyle coach within 6 hours. As the day drew to a close, the fear began to fade, replaced by a profound sense of humility. We realized that we had never truly been the only ones thinking. We had just been the only ones talking. On a park bench at sunset, a human and a dog sat together, finally speaking the same language. Back in his alleyway, Marlo looked up from a piece of discarded pizza. He looked directly at us, his eyes wise and heavy with a decade of unspoken thoughts. He asked the question that would haunt humanity for the next 30 days. You've been talking this whole time, and only now you're listening? Interesting. The first 24 hours were over. The great silence had ended, and the world would never be quiet again. But as the screen fades, one truth remains. This was just the prologue. Because in 30 days, everything we thought we knew about civilization would be gone.